Meet little Melvin. He's a 90-pound weakling. Everyone hated Melvin.
I'm gonna take this mop and shove it down your throat.
They teased him.
I wanna do it with you. Okay.
They taunted him. They tormented him until he had a horrifying accident and fell into a vat of nuclear waste. Transforming little Melvin into a hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength. Melvin became the Toxic Avenger.
Greetings not from Tromaville, but from the Mahola Authors Series. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of the Toxic Avenger, and I'm going to be wearing this very intellectual bow tie and putting on these fake glasses from time to time so that I can look like an author and talk about my latest book, Sell Your Own Damn Movie. The first question we have is from Cunnilinguist. I watch a lot of movies, enough to when my family last played movie trivia with me. I was placed on my own team. I don't know what language this guy speaks, but he's clearly very articulate. Something about Thanksgiving. In short, I friggin' love movies. What are 3 movies you recommend that I have likely missed? Any era, any language, genre is okay. I think he meant genre is okay. I'm an omnivore. He got that. He spelled that correctly. I like the, I would suggest you see Mizoguchi's Princess Yang Wei Fei. That, if you look up the word sublime, you'll find it in the dictionary, and your letter was very sublime. Then I would suggest a John Ford movie called Cheyenne Autumn. Cheyenne Autumn took the part of the Native Americans long before it became chic, and it's a wonderful masterpiece, even though the critics missed it. So it's a good lesson. Critics are idiots, and John Ford was a genius throughout his entire filmmaking life. And then also, by the way, Cheyenne Autumn was very big inspiration on Poultrygeist, A Night of the Chicken Dead, which takes up the cause of Native American chicken zombies. But the Native American issue is extremely important to that film. Then the third movie I would suggest you look at is the Chaplin's The Great Dictator, because there's nothing has changed. As nothing has changed as the world's reaction to Julian Assange of WikiLeaks, a man who should be taken on his shoulders for bringing you the truth. The world, there were people who wanted to kill him, and the world was generally, the so-called free world wasn't so free. So I think you see The Great Dictator, you'll see a lot that you ought to be fighting against. See? Intellectual. Bad Camera writes, Bad Camera, oh, I think I know that guy. Just look at my movies. No, actually, our camera people at Troma are expert. They're amazing. They're so good. That's why the movies look so good. How difficult was it for Troma to carve its own niche in the film industry? 37 years ago. Congrats. And what does it take for you to hold your ground? When we started, take them off. When we started Troma, there was something in the air called competition. There were rules that protected the public against monopoly. So if you had something good, you couldn't be stopped from getting it to the public. Now all the rules that protect the public from monopoly are done away with. So as a result, you have a small number of devil-worshipping international media conglomerates with names like the News Corporation, owned by Rupert Murdoch, the hacker. And those own everything. They own, so you can't get movies like Cannibal the Musical by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, possibly one of the best movies in Troma's history, and a movie that sold hundreds of thousands of home video units, as they called. I like the word package better. At any rate, that movie's never been on TV. How is that possible? How is it possible that the 4th Toxic Avenger movie, Citizen Toxie, equally as successful on home video, has never been on any form of television, including things like Skinamax or crap like Comedy Central? How is that possible? How is it possible? That's called economic blacklisting. So that's why it's much more difficult today to do what Troma did. And the proof of it is you won't find too many movie studios that are truly independent that are more than a couple of years old. Troma's the Babe Ruth of longevity in terms of independent, the lifespan of an independent studio, and it's thanks to our fan base. And thank you, fan base and shortstop. Well, let's go to the next question here from Super Nanny. Super Nanny. I wonder what he does for a living. Any rate, I am a recent high school graduate whom will be attending the Evergreen State College in Olympia. This person writes like a young William Faulkner, speaking of books. Washington, with an emphasis in film. I love cinematography, editing, and I would also like to possibly get into a little directing and maybe some acting. Well, as someone who has 30 years of experience, how would you suggest I work my way into the film industry? What type of job should I pursue at first, and whom would you recommend me pestering to get the job? Well, the whom, you got the whom right. That's pretty good. Well, I would say that if you want to be successful, if you want to just do a little directing, I think probably all you'll really need are lips like a woman. I know I've had them, and I know how to use them, and I think that'll get you a lot of acting roles. Your other questions, I think there is no secret to getting into the movie industry. The step number one is figuring out what you want to do. Do you want, wait a minute, I've mixed it all up, but I'm still intellectual because I don't really need the glasses. These are just props. Where was I? Yes, very important. You must come to the crossroads. Do you want an Oscar? Do you want the mansions? Do you want the dope and the hookers and the super nanny pep pills, whatever? If you want that, you've got to go to Hollywood. You probably have to go to some place like Hollywood and become part of the mainstream. You could drive a Disney truck in the parking lot there and perhaps work the Xerox machines at the William Morris Agency if you're a Harvard MBA. At any rate, you can do that, or if you want to be totally the artist, then you can do that anywhere thanks to the magic of digital cinema. You don't need any money. You can teach yourself how to make your own damn movies, which is pretty much what I did, except I worked in 16 and 35 millimeters. So lots of resources went down the drain for my measly talent. But now you don't have to spend a lot of money to learn the movie business. You don't even have to be in it. You can be an artist. By the way, I just noticed I left off the best part of Super Nanny's email. She says, or he says, not sure, also, I read your filmmaking book, and it is fantastic. Well, that must be make your own damn movie or direct your own damn movie. Maybe even produce your own damn movie. But I hope that Super Nanny, I hope he, she, or it will read Sell Your Own Damn Movie, because that's the most interesting of my books. Here is Kaz123. With MTV's recent Teen Wolf reboot, has anyone approached you about doing a Toxic reboot? Reboot, I assume, means a shitty sequel. Is that the term? Because if it's on MTV, you know it's going to be a shitty sequel. Luckily, with the Toxic Avenger, Akiva Goldsman, who is a major Oscar-winning producer-writer, he wrote A Beautiful Mind and received an Oscar for his efforts. He also made the best movie in the world, Batman and Robin, as everybody knows. He is leading the team that has decided to remake the Toxic Avenger. And they've got a great director named Steven Pink, who directed Hot Tub Time Machine and High Fidelity and the very good Grossy Pointy Blank. Great movies. So the reboot of Toxic Avenger, as you call it, I think will be really good. And for the you fanboys who have a little bit of an attitude about the remake of the Toxic Avenger, if the remake is made, Troma will get mucho doleros, so we can continue to make the kinds of movies we make unfettered by any thought of getting onto any form of American media. So we don't make any money. So the only way we can make movies is, at least the type we do, is getting a bit of revenue in from possible Toxic Avenger remake. And by the way, you don't go to movie jail for having a good remake, and there are good remakes. A Star is Born with Judy Garland. Being a gay married man, I've seen every movie of Judy Garland. That was the third remake. That was an Oscar-winning movie produced by Judy Garland, I believe. There are all sorts of terrific remakes that are better than the originals, All Quiet on the Western Front being one. I could go on, but I think I've bored you enough with this question. At any rate, Toxic will hopefully, by the way, they're going to spend $100 million on the Toxic Avenger remake. and it's going to be a PG-13. So I think it'll be pretty cool. A.J. Walkley says, A.J. Walkley asks, what is your favorite movie to have made and why? I think Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead is my favorite movie that I've been involved in. And I think what made it the best experience is that we had the most dedicated cast and crew that I've ever had in 40 years of failed filmmaking. So I think the magic of making that movie was really why I have such high esteem for it. Also, I think it takes the most risk of any Troma movie we've made. It has a musical component, which eliminates about half of the movie-going public. There's singing and dancing in that movie. So Poultrygeist, and the themes of Poultrygeist, of course, are controversial and extremely important politically and socially. So that's a movie I would recommend. You can also see a feature-length documentary called Poultry in Motion, Truth is Stranger Than Chicken. The behind-the-scenes making of Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead, and you will see in that documentary how difficult it is to make a Troma movie, and you can also find out why PETA both PETA and MSN, Microsoft News, rated Poultrygeist in the top 10 civil rights movies of all time. The next question is from Colin Mason. When will we be able to see another wonderful Shakespeare adaptation from Troma? Well, Colin Mason, that's an excellent question. I've been dabbling a little bit with a traumatic version of Taming of the Shrew, but I've been distracted by the fact that we need to write the Toxic Avenger Part 5, the Toxic Twins. So I think if there is another Troma Shakespeare tribute, it would probably be Taming of the Shrew, but it'll be a while. I can't say I'm terribly engaged. Now, A.J. Walkley also asks a very important question. What is the most difficult aspect of filmmaking, in your opinion, and why? Well, A.J., for me, the most difficult aspect of filmmaking is the writing component, because without a good script, without something you believe in, there is no purpose in making a Troma movie. Troma movies don't make money, and the media ignores us. So there's no reason to make a Troma movie unless you have a theme or a script or something that you really believe in. So that's why it takes me a long time to come up with a Troma project. Even though Troma makes movies every year, I just don't direct them, which means they're good. And speaking of good, Mr. Bricks is coming out, which is a heavy metal murder musical by Travis Campbell. And also we are editing Father's Day, which all of these movies can be seen, clips of them can be seen on YouTube, safely and securely. Colin Mason has another very interesting question. With Blockbuster and other video outlets blacklisting Troma, now have you been able to get your film, keep poking my eye out. With Blockbuster and other video outlets blacklisting Troma, how have you been able to get your films to audiences all around the world? That's the funniest question. We don't get our film all around the world. We rely on the film pirates and the file sharers. They're the ones who make Troma famous. We have no distribution anywhere, basically. So it's all our fans who are nice enough to actually buy the movies on the Troma.com, www.troma.com website, or Amazon, or wherever they can find them. The fans support us, and there are fans all over the world who do actually pay for our movies. Yoshirix asks, do editors ever move on to become directors nowadays, like back in the day with David Lean? Well, you know, David Lean tried a few movies. It's too bad he didn't get anywhere. Dr. Zhivago, Lawrence of Arabia. Anyway, he looked promising, but unfortunately, those masterpieces never came out of him. But I guess editors can go places. For example, Gabe Friedman, who edited Citizen Toxie and other Troma movies. Gabe Friedman wrote and edited Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. And he had a big hand in directing that movie. He's modest, but there's no question that editors become directors, and very good directors. I think the best directors, though, are the ones who were actors. If you look through history, you will see that so many of the great directors. Even John Ford was an actor. I don't think Hitchcock was, but he was a scenic designer. And I think he may have had some acting early in his career because he clearly was, he got it, obviously. Let's see what's next. Colin Mason, do you think the internet has helped keep independent film alive with Hulu and Netflix streaming and such? I don't know about other independent film. There doesn't seem to be any studios or independent companies that are very long-lived or long-lived, whatever the word is. So there is a cartel that runs the film distribution business. There's a small number of these conglomerates. And unless you're in with them, you don't make money. They don't permit you to make money. The internet, I think, is a way to get there. And the internet is a way for all of us to make money. But there are evil forces at work that want to destroy the free and level playing field, the democratic, the all-encompassing internet, the level playing field that is known as net neutrality. The Motion Picture Association of America, basically Rupert Murdoch, Time Warner, Viacom, the big studios. They are international, by the way. They want to get rid of net neutrality on the internet. They don't want a free, open, and democratic internet. They don't want everyone to be equal on the internet. They don't want Maholo's website to have equal, to have just as much advantage as Walt Disney's, because they don't like competition. They're deathly afraid of competition. So we have to fight to keep net neutrality alive and make sure that our Congress people and that the president understands that there are a lot of young people out there who need and depend and must have net neutrality be preserved. And don't be put off by the stupidity of the argument that, well, if we have net neutrality, there'll be porno everywhere, or there'll be piracy everywhere. That's baloney, absolute baloney, because when video cassettes came in and the video technology started toppling the empires of the elite, they used the exact same argument against home video. And of course, then once they threw a monkey wrench into it and they wound it all up in the courts, they took it over, and home video's their most profitable revenue source. And by the way, what's wrong with some free porno? Huh? And Colin Mason continues his question, and what can a filmmaker do to get the word out about their film? It should be about his or her or its film, if they have no money. Being an author, I try to throw in a little grammar lessons and grandpa lessons. What to get the word out? Well, there are no secrets to getting the word out, but if I were you, I would read Sell Your Own Damn Movie, because in that book, I talk about the 40 years of Troma getting the word out, and I think we have against insurmountable sources and forces. But Sell Your Own Damn Movie also has the lessons and the wisdom of people who have distributed and continue to distribute the mainstream stuff. So if you're interested in getting in with them, I've got some examples of like Twilight and Step Up, those guys. How did Paranormal go from being an underground, unheard-of film to get into the hands of Steven Spielberg and Paramount and become the most profitable movie in history? I interviewed Oren Peli, whose film Paranormal is in Sell Your Own Damn Movie. And there are interviews with distributors and promoters and international agents up and down the line. So I think your best advice is to read Sell Your Own Damn Movie. And we describe in detail what to do with the social networking, what I do, what James Gunn does. There's all sorts of invaluable advice. And of course, there are no rules. If I were to give you one rule for getting the word out, I would say, put your ass on the line and get out there and sell yourself. Sell yourself and put your ass on the line. Don't be afraid of rejection. Woody Allen says that success is 88% just showing up. Our next question is from Rachel Grice. As the title of one of your books, I guess she meant books, suggest, you learned everything about filmmaking by doing it. Oh yeah, I get it, doing filmmaking, not doing it. Because if you just do it, you don't learn about movies, unless you want to make porno movies. How can Americans incorporate a more apprentice-like approach to learning in an education system dominated by universities? That is a great question, because the universities are kind of, I think, slickering the students. For students to pay $50,000 a year to go to NYU or USC or UCLA, or lesser amounts still, plentiful amounts of money to lesser schools. you can make amazing feature-length movies. Paranormal was made for no money. And we're distributing a movie, Mr. Bricks, which Travis Campbell and Justin Martell made for, I think, under $150,000. I mean, you can make movies for $10,000 that are great. Troma distributes a movie called Suicide. Suicide, a subject which I think about every day when I wake up. That movie was $3,000, and it's brilliant. That is a brilliant movie. And so you don't need the money anymore, which is a good thing, and you can do what you believe in. So perhaps the filmmaking, the expense of filmmaking schools might be better used to make your own damn movie. And I'm not saying that just so you'll read my books, although reading my books, whether you go to those film schools or not, I think what my books say, even though you don't get them in those snazzy film schools, my books are very good and probably ought to be in every library and every film school in the world, because they say the truth, and their books are written by somebody who's actually made movies and made successful movies and fought the system the whole time. So the fact that the film schools don't have the books of mine, I would say that's a big black mark against them. And the fact that they charge $50,000. How many movies can you make? You can make a lot of good feature-length movies for what it costs to go to film school. Now, on the university side, in order to make a good movie, you've got to have something to say. So having 4 years of education and reading Moby Dick and reading Shakespeare and reading Faulkner, although I couldn't get through it, but reading reading Stephen King, reading Mark Twain, reading and going places. You know, I spent a year in Central Africa in the bush, no electricity, no phones, no MTV. 1965, I believe it was. That was a very interesting year for a 19-year-old idiot. And but at least I've got something in my head from that. And you know, I've traveled a lot. I haven't killed anybody, but you know, that's an experience. I don't say you should kill people, but you know, people who go to the army come back with things that are real. But some middle-class person sitting and eating Cheerios, you're not going to necessarily make a great movie. You need some inner resources. So I think the college education is probably something you ought to do. But maybe don't study film, because for the most part, the teachers will ruin it for you. Rachel Grace has a follow-up question, apparently not satisfied with this bountiful answer I just gave, but here she says, you've had a lot of job titles: director, producer, writer, mentor. Do you have a favorite? Mentor? De-mentor, maybe. I would suggest de-mentor should be the title. Please correct that in my Wikipedia, if that's where it's there. By the way, I don't ever look at my Wikipedia. I mean, I have looked at it, but I don't do it. I let the fans do it. So, and I think it's pretty accurate. I think for the most part it's accurate. I haven't looked at it for a while. My favorite title, I don't like titles, to be honest, but I guess filmmaker would be what I would call myself as a professional title, filmmaker or maker of films. But I guess now you'd have to call it something else, entertainment provider, because I think my next film will be digital. Toxic 5 will be digital. Joey Biagas writes, if films never existed in life and you couldn't invent it, although them, I guess, for some odd reason, what else do you think you would be doing? Is there a passion for anything else in life? What would I be doing instead of making movies? I guess I would be a teacher or a social worker and try to make the world a better place, teach people with hooks for hands how to finger paint, teach bums how to paint happy faces on beads and string the beads together. I would do something like that, you know, try to really help people instead of wasting all this resource and time and effort on these movies. Richard Fitzwell writes, what is your view on the current state of the film industry? Anything you would like to see change? Well, the film industry as such, which is basically Rupert Murdoch and his buddies, you know, I don't like too many of their movies. Ergo, I would say that it's not in terribly good shape. But there are thousands of movies being made all over the world. So the film art, I think, is in good shape. Thanks to the democratization of the digital filmmaking. thanks to the fact that everybody can afford to make a movie. It's not a matter of being rich anymore. When I started out, you had to have thousands of dollars to make a 16mm feature-length movie. Now you don't need anything. You really do not need anything to make your own damn movie. And that, of course, has opened a floodgate of brilliant movies. Unfortunately, the only way we get to see them or hear about them or know about them is through the internet. And that's why net neutrality is so important to preserve, because otherwise the opinions of all the bloggers and people who love true art, their voices won't be heard. We won't hear about the latest Troma movie. It'll just go away. That'll be it. Be in the ether somewhere. Bad Camera says, Bad Camera asks, in scene 24 of Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD, Lotus asks Kabuki Man if she's, and then it says ... and then he says, or she says, bad kidding. Just kidding, just kidding. Troma is the only production company, but I could have answered that question, so that's how well I know our films. Troma is the only production company that accepts screenplay submissions. Be honest, are these mainly used for interns to nap on? What percentage of screenplays are up to snuff? Have any flicks been made through this channel? Indeed, we do get a lot of unsolicited screenplays at Troma Entertainment. We are a small company. We don't have a lot of money. So the odds of our making one of those submissions is very much against it. However, we do read a lot of the scripts that come in, and we do not use them for interns to nap on, however. That's very important to say that. We do use them for toilet paper, however. And the interns have to wait their turn, let me tell you. If you want to wait for a bathroom, try the Mahola bathrooms. They're occupied 24/7. I've never seen anything like it. It's incredible. I guess there's a lot of reading. It is an author's series, so I suppose there's lots of reading going on. At any rate, I was going to say something intelligent. What was the question again? Father's Day. Father's Day may be a major Troma masterpiece. And it's made by a group of 6 directors. It's being edited now. Father's Day was made in Winnipeg, Canada. And these guys, I met these guys on the set of the remake of Mother's Day, which, by the way, I'm hearing is dynamite. These guys were production assistants on the set of Mother's Day remake, and Charles Kaufman, who wrote and directed Mother's Day, and I were invited to be in a short scene that probably got cut out of the movie. But we were invited to be, oh no, actually it's in the film. We weren't, but you can't see it. You'll never notice it because it's on a TV screen and it's very tiny. In any event, I'm not bitter, although I am bitter. We met these really great guys, really enthusiastic Troma fans, and they presented me with a concept and a script, and they made a trailer for that script. They made a coming attractions kind of a thing, and so they had a pretty good package, and they did make this little trailer, and we made the movie. We gave them the money, and they're editing now, and it looks like it's going to be absolutely Troma-rific. Miss Chrissy Lynn is asking, being the first film festival driven by filmmakers and fans, what has been your role for the Troma Dance Film Festival so far, and are you pleased with this success, bringing this type of genre more into the spotlight? The Troma Dance Film Festival was established 13 years ago. Trey Parker and Matt Stone wanted to present Cannibal the Musical at Sundance, and they paid whatever the fee is. You have to pay to get your movie refused by Sundance, and they didn't even get a rejection letter, and so they decided they'd go to Sundance with Cannibal the Musical and just rent a bar somewhere and have a one-movie festival, and they did it, and it was hugely successful, and that led to the idea, because we saw how I was there, we saw how rude. I was not at the Cannibal the Musical, but Trey, Matt, and I were at Sundance together, and with Cannibal the Musical, and it was, we were shocked at how rude and how snotty and how not terribly welcoming to true independent artists Sundance was. So we decided to set up film festival where you don't have to pay to submit your movie, where you can see the movies for free and no VIP policy. We set this up in the heart of Sundance itself. We set it up on Main Street in Park City, Utah, at the same time and same place as Sundance. So for 10 years, I think we made a pretty good statement. And I do believe that Sundance has become more open to truly independent films, although they still take really safe ones. But at least they are inviting more genuinely independent movies. And we outgrew Park City after 10 years, and now Troma Dance is in New Jersey, home of the Toxic Avenger, Asbury Park, New Jersey, which does have the word ass as the first syllable, so it's very good for me. The function that I have at the Troma Dance Film Festival is more just the founder. I don't have anything to do and never have with selecting the movies. If I did, every movie would be just sex and violence. The movies that are in Sundance, in Troma Dance, cut that Sundance reference out, please. No, you don't have to, just joking. The movies that are in Troma Dance are very eclectic. There's everything from children's fare that usually goes earlier in the day to pretty harsh, dark movies. We premiered, 2 years ago, we premiered the Human Centipede at Troma Dance. And this year, we presented the world premiere of The Taint, or the festival premiere of The Taint. I think it may have played some little bars or something. And a movie that IFC is picking up called Kidnapped, and or they picked it up, I think. So we had some interesting films on the darker, more extreme genre side, and then we had tons of really underground movies that are beyond that are either crazier or more innovative, or movies that no festival would play. And that doesn't mean that they're X-rated. It means they're G-rated to X-rated. It's, I mean, they're not rated, but they are family to just beyond belief. So Troma Dance, I'm just there to make sure that the spirit of Troma Dance is preserved, that there's no money charged for anything, and try to help get sponsors. By the way, if there's anybody watching, Troma Dance 2012 would greatly appreciate any sponsorship. The budget is very, very small, but so $5,000 or $1,000 or $500 helps a lot with our little festival, Troma Dance. TromaDance.com for more information. And there is a PayPal account. And there's a way to get it tax deductible, too. Thank you. Joey Biagas. Joey Biagas writes, other than films, is there any other passion in life that drives you or could possibly drive you? I guess just being a decent person. I don't really have other passions beside movies. You know, my family and one friend, 2 friends. It's about all I got. So I think it's pretty much, my life is consumed by the movies and my family and the 1 or 2 friends. 20 questions. 20 questions has asked, what do you like to speak about at corporate events? Well, believe it or not, this could be a little tough for you to comprehend, but I don't get invited to too many corporate events. I can't imagine why. Just because I see that the devil-worshipping international media conglomerates that control our industry are out there, you know, and I believe they would like to get rid of any kind of independent voice. I don't understand why I'm not invited to more corporate events. It's very interesting. I also would like to know why Deadline.com, which is supposed to be an open-minded trade website, they're mainstream, and I guess they're, you know, they're very mainstream. But why, anytime they mention Troma, they have to dump on us. They can't give us credit for 40 years of failed filmmaking. They can't give me credit as being an influential director, even though Quentin Tarantino and Peter Jackson and Takashi Miike and Gaspar Noé, the directors across the world have voiced and written respectful praise of Lloyd Kaufman and Troma. The major media just can't do it. They can't bring themselves to say that Troma or I are any good, and they can't bring themselves to say that Michael Bay sucks. The New York Times, A.O. Scott, he ties himself into a pretzel to try to say good things about Michael Bay's Transformers. New York Times lead critic is writing about the Transformers Part 82. and he's calling it dazzling. Dazzling. Only Michael Bay can make dazzling. This is the world we live in. That's the trouble. But I'm not bitter. I'm just a sad old clown waiting to die. Morbid love story. She asks, or I assume it's a she, morbida, I took Latin. What would you consider your greatest achievement? I think my greatest achievement is being a husband to my wife for 37 years. Actually, she's the one who deserves the combat pay, and probably that would guess it's her achievement. But the fact that she hasn't run off screaming into the woods, I think the fact that I'm still with my wife, I think that's a great achievement, and I'm very proud of it. And the fact that Michael Herz and I have been partners for almost 40 years, or probably 40 years, because we started before Troma, and we've never had a written contract between us. I think that I'm more proud of that than any movie. Colin Mason has a question. With the return of 90s cartoons such as Beavis and Butthead as well as Nickelodeon rebooting old cartoon hits, can you see Toxic Crusaders coming back in the near future? There is no way that Toxic Crusaders will come back other than on Troma DVDs, which are available safely and securely through www.troma.com or on Amazon or at your local Pirate Bay .com. So there's no chance that any of the conglomerates would play Troma movies. They play what they own or what they control. They have no interest in anybody else, as far as I can see. Comedy Central has never even played Cannibal the Musical. Trey Parker and Matt Stone's successful Troma musical, which has sold pantloads of DVDs, has gotten great reviews and is known all over the world, and Comedy Central won't play that. Nobody will play Cannibal the Musical. Not because it's bad, it's brilliant. It's because Troma owns it, and Troma's independent. And the conglomerates do not want us to live. It's as simple as that. They don't like it. We're the conscience. We were known as the conscience of Sundance when Troma Dance was at Sundance. Troma's the conscience of the conglomerates, and they don't like it. They want to do to us like Julian Assange, except we haven't done anything. We've done nothing to upset them. Morbid a Love Story also writes, if there was a film made about your life, who would play you? You meaning me. Well, I guess I would have Justin Bieber, of course, play me in the early years. And then maybe Lance Bass. And then for my final year, I'd probably take the guy who killed himself through autoerotic asphyxiation, the guy from In Excess. I think that would be, he'd play me as the more mature person. Cohasset Snuff, let me tell you that when I decided to become a filmmaker, it wasn't a matter of people doubting me. It was a matter of people not giving a wet fart. Nobody cared. You know, now I think a lot of people doubt me, and probably with good reason. But the media, what I do object to is that the major media ignores Troma, and we have been a huge influence, like it or not. We have left and continue to leave a giant, mammoth, Yeti-like footprint on the face of the cultural world. Paxton 1236, let me tell you this about that, as Nixon used to say. I took acid one night and made the decision that I would go the independent way. I could have had a job on The Owl and the Pussycat, starring Barbra Streisand, but I decided I would take a job with a very small, unknown independent movie company in New York City and forego the opportunity to work with the most difficult actress in the world. Well, Twilight sucks ass. I love Trey Parker and Matt Stone, but you know they really didn't go anywhere. So why would I want to collaborate with them again? You know, if they had been successful, you know, maybe if they would have had something like the most successful Broadway play in history, getting more nominations, getting more Tonys than South Pacific. If they had done something like that, okay. But right now, you know, I don't need them. I don't need them. With my career, with Sell Your Own Damn Movie coming out and selling at least 60 copies, 65 maybe, who needs Trey Parker and Matt Stone? I dropped them long ago. Demon Slayer, I tell you, the biggest influence on my life was Jesus. No, sorry. Who knows? I went to an Episcopalian school, Trinity School in New York for 12 years. We had chapel every morning. So, I mean, I do love Jesus. He's a great guy. But I think in terms of movies, the Cinémathèque Française, I read, because I speak French, my Yale roommates gave me copies of the Cahiers du Cinéma, which is the magazine of the French Cinémathèque. And they propound the theory of the auteur, the fact that the director should be the author of the film. The director should control every aspect of the movie. And I bought into all that. So my career was basically influenced and ruined at the same time by the Cinémathèque Française and the Cahiers du Cinéma. In terms of directors, I guess, upon whom I relied for my inspiration, Mizoguchi, certainly the Japanese director, John Ford, Howard Hawks, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Stan Brakhage, who made the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest visual artist of my lifetime, Ernst Lubitsch, Jean Renoir, Roberto Rossellini, many more whose names I can't pronounce. But I think I would sum it up by saying I am inspired by the great auteur movie directors of the ages. Garn, 1988, my favorite film in which to act, I think probably Poultry Guys, just because, again, there was such a wonderful cast and crew, and Jason Yashanin, who played Arby, who plays, I play him 25 years later. He's sort of in a time capsule down in the basement of the fast food joint. He was so good and so funny, and I had such a good time both singing and dancing with him as well as being in scenes with him, that's clearly my favorite acting job. I also very, very much liked, as an actor, I find that Lloyd Kaufman is really such a good movie director. He has so much understanding, especially, I don't know how he gets into my heart and soul the way he does, but he really knows how to bring it out of me. I think Lloyd Kaufman is a very underrated film director. Toxie 8901. The process of getting the idea to a Troma movie is a long, horrible, painful, anxious period for me. It is red tide times 100 in the way of a period. But I think for other filmmakers, Travis Campbell, who made, with Justin Martell, two of our employees, they made Mr. Bricks, they made it look effortless. They had a good time doing it. They had a blast. And the guys who did Father's Day, Astron 6, they've shot it. They're now editing it, and I'm in that movie. Again, they seem to be very reliable, but I find it just harrowing to make a movie. It's a constant nightmare. And for me, getting the idea onto paper and getting a decent script, something that I feel I can be proud of, or at least something that I feel I can build on and eventually get a movie I can be proud of, something that I'm not embarrassed to give to my wife or my friends to read. That is really the biggest difficulty for me, to do something I can really believe in, because nobody sees our movies, so what's the purpose in trying to cater to anything but what I believe in? Brian Boot, I enjoy musicals, as you can tell. The Toxic Avenger musical is really, it's fabulous. Who would have expected that the Toxic Avenger movie, a film that has a young boy's head being squashed by the wheel of an automobile and other such controversial scenes, who would have expected that the Toxic Avenger musical would be made into a Toxic Avenger musical, into such a lovely, amusing, and all-encompassing musical, and successful. It won every Off-Broadway award. It won Best Musical Off-Broadway in New York, ran for over a year, played in Toronto and Germany and North Korea and all over the world. And now they're bringing it to Broadway. They're going to make the Toxic Avenger musical. By the way, Bon Jovi was there at opening night, and David Bryan, who is his keyboard guy, David Bryan, the Bon Jovi keyboard guy, wrote the music for the Toxic Avenger musical. It's terrific. And so they're bringing it to Broadway, bigger and better, and it should be terrific. I think it's everything that perhaps the Spider-Man musical, for all its $70 million, missed, namely the heart and soul of the main character. Norman Mailer has just written, where can he find Sell Your Own Damn Movie? Well, Barnes & Noble, fine bookstores everywhere, and, of course, Amazon.com. And if you want it autographed by Lloyd Kaufman, my favorite author, you can get Sell Your Own Damn Movie from www.troma.com. That's Troma. T is in tree. www.troma.com. Sell Your Own Damn Movie. Now, why would I write such a book? Why? Why? People, all they talk about, they don't even talk about Lloyd Kaufman. All they talk about is the Toxic Avenger, you know. And quite frankly, I hate the Toxic Avenger. Luckily, he's not here. But I want my own, so nobody will know that I'm talking about the Toxic Avenger. Luckily, nobody watches this show. Toxie, yay, Toxie. The Toxic Avenger, ladies and gentlemen. There would be no Sell Your Own Damn Movie were it not for the I mean, I was just talking about you, Toxie. I was saying how much I really think that the Toxic Avenger has inspired Sell Your Own Damn Movie, because in that book, I can reveal the secrets of how Troma has distributed the movies for 40 years, and that hopefully there will be young people who will learn how to distribute their own damn movies. And if they're interested in going into the mainstream, I've got the guys who released Twilight, and how you could make a movie, or how do you get a movie into Summit, into a mainstream studio system. Also Paranormal Activity. I wanted to just give a real working 100% accurate description of all forms of distribution, and especially how you and I, my best friend, how you and I were able to kind of give the finger to the establishment for all these years, and make some money too.